Colts in crisis. Is Jonathan Taylor moving on?
There's no better way to get better at football than playing football. So if you want to,
Taylor's gonna finish it.
I've always been confident in my abilities. I think, I'm a guy that can go out there, and I always believe in myself that I'm going to get open and make the play if they throw me the ball.
The third. Ryan, end zone shot for Pierce. He caught
it. Oh, what a... Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Colts Cast. We are here to talk about everything and anything Indianapolis Colts. He is Jamal Lawrence, and I am Eric Smith, your co-host of the Colts Cast. Guys, breaking news. Jonathan Taylor has requested a trade from the Indianapolis Colts, according to Ian Rappaport. This happened after the meeting on the bus with Jim Irsay. Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on in Indianapolis? Let's waste no time and get right into it, Jamal. I need some details, because I was drinking last night, drinking my sorrows away. I didn't think it would come to this. What's going on?
Man, we're gonna break it down, but before we do, let's just go ahead and get the hard work out the way real quick for our sponsor Manscaped. Baseball's back, and I know everyone wants to hit a home run, but you can't do that without with your untrimmed bush starting to look like Wrigley Field. Get your game on point with Manscaped, and you can start scoring on and off the field with their top-notch grooming products trusted by 8 million men worldwide. Grab some Cracker Jacks, a hot dog, and the Lawnmower 4.0, and let's play ball. Don't forget to use code ColtsCast for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Guys, this thing is next level. Use it all the time. You need to get one. Like yesterday, you need to get one. Manscaped has the full package for your package this season. The Performance Package 4.0 checks every box, and it's the 5-star tool you've been searching for your balls club. The Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0 is getting hyped as the Mike Trout of trimmers, and after using it, my confidence level is sky high. In and out quickly to get the job done in just a few minutes, something Rob Manfred can't say anything about. Going up to the plate against Jacob deGrom is tough enough. De-hair your nostrils with the Weed Whacker 2.0 from Manscaped so you can take your best shot at it. Clean up below the waist in 2023 with the best lineup for Manscaped. Trim your bat and balls with Manscaped to get into the MVP discussion this season. Most valuable player, of course, with the code ColtsCast for 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with code ColtsCast at manscaped.com. Eric. Dude, I don't know. It was so crazy because we all know as Colts fans, it's never a dull moment. For this team to never have like dramatic players or all this, we don't have the Tyreek Hills or the or the Dalvin Cooks, like these guys who, to me, in my opinion, just like when you see their name pop up, you're like, of course, this person is complaining about something. Like, this is happening. But the Colts always find a way to make the news with some drama, whether that be Carson Wentz, whether that be Matt Ryan. Now we're looking at arguably our best player, Jonathan Taylor, now asking for a trade, requesting a trade, however you want to slice it, after a meeting we thought was going to go well on that bus with Jim Irsay. So when I think about this, Eric, we just got to take a step back to earlier during the offseason, where this Jonathan Taylor direct quote when he was doing his interview, one of the first media day interviews, he said, and this is a direct quote, "It wouldn't be a distraction." And just for context, guys, this is about the contract. "It wouldn't be a distraction for me if I don't get the extension before the season. I'm on a contract here for 4 years. I put the pen to the paper, so that's where I'm at right now. I made an obligation to them, and they made an obligation to me, but things will happen naturally. Like I said, it's not until you actually get into the situation where you're like, oh, let's see, how do you handle the situation? Because you always see it, but you never know. What do you think? Oh, what do these guys actually go through?" I'm like, what is that? Is a typo there? So anyway, so that was a direct quote from Jonathan Taylor going into everything that was going to be this contract season for him. He said, "I'm not worried about the contract right now. I don't care about that. I signed my name on that paper. I know I got to put in 4 years of work. Life was great." Fast forward, 3 months later, life is not great anymore. Life is pitiful. It's pathetic. It's sad because Jonathan Taylor no longer wants to be an Indianapolis Colt. And I think that, obviously we've seen how much is going on with all these other running backs right now, and it's just been kind of a mess. These guys, and I can't speak on behalf of any of these other running backs and their teams just because I'm not too familiar with everything that's going on with their case. But Jonathan Taylor, on the other hand, It's just a crappy situation because JT, we know what JT has done for this team, guys. We can't forget what that 2021 season is or was. We know he had some trouble his rookie season, but that 2021 season was a breakout. 2022, obviously, injuries riddled him, but it wasn't just him; it was a whole entire team effort that sucked. I'm like super on the fence with both sides of it. Like you can play good guy, bad guy for Ursay or Taylor at this point because both parties I feel like have gotten to a childish point. And it's hard to pick a definitive side without knowing every single detail to what's going on. JT, I think, has to take a step back and go to exactly what he said at the beginning of the season that or at the offseason that he has agreed to this 4-year deal. And the Colts have to also remember the fact that JT has done a lot for them over this past couple of years. Even in a market where we say, or in a time where we say the running back position isn't as important because we don't have a Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. We don't have the offensive line that the Eagles had. So to sit here and say that a running back isn't super important to us at this point, I think that's kind of a unfair thing to say. Um, but I think it's just a really big mess, Eric. I mean, I want you to weigh in on it. I mean, you can take either side you want, or just kind of give me your full breakdown. But I think that it's gonna continue to get ugly. I mean, Jim Irsay already said that we're not trading him.
He
I know
did.
he's
Yep.
going to get fined, so eventually he's going to get out on the field and play. I would assume. I don't think him losing money is going to help his situation out, but it also won't help him out. I think from another team's perspective, where he's not on the field playing because you don't want to lose that game speed and you want to show other teams that even though you are coming off this ankle injury, you're still a valuable player to them if you truly are wanting to get out of here and get traded. But talk your talk, dog.
Yeah, Jim Irsay also said no one treats players as well as this franchise.
Mhm.
So let's see if that actually comes to fruition. But really, that was shocking news last night. Even before that, I heard that Jonathan Taylor's reportedly not been offered any contract
Mhm.
extensions. That was like a few days before, maybe a week before. I think that was a few days before this news dropped, but I thought that was even crazy. I mean, the guy put up a record year in 2021, and you know, I can see how they haven't come to an agreement, but not to even get an offer. I can see why he's a little, fired up about this. And then, the running back position, it looks like it's just at a point of no return. We just saw Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel Elliott get cut. Saquon Barkley said he was going to hold out, then signed a 1-year deal that is basically identical to the franchise tag deal, just with the little incentives and stuff like that. So that begs the question, will Jonathan Taylor ever get a long-term deal? It just seems unlikely at this point, especially after he's requesting a trade. It just looks like it's a downward trend for running backs these days. Like, who's going to pay Jonathan Taylor if not us? Because, like I said, those guys I just talked about, Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel Elliott, still free agents. Still free agents. Is JT a slightly more appealing option? Yeah. But Taylor also wants a big contract. His agent has been wilding on social media.
Mhm.
Like, who is going to give him that contract he wants? Plus, if a team did trade for him right now, traded for his contract, I mean, they get him for a 1-year rental, 1-year deal. Then they have to find a way to give him that contract he still wants, or they wasted picks or players or whatever they traded to us to acquire him. And I mean, let's just dive into some running back history and why it's been so devalued. Like Isaiah Pacheco, he was a 7th-round pick in 2022. He has a Super Bowl ring. He has a Super Bowl ring. It also took him a while to become that man out the backfield. He didn't start day one. So that begs another question of why would any team pay millions of dollars for a veteran back when you can just draft a rookie every few years for good production on a significantly affordable deal? Like, what's Pacheco making? It's probably less than $1 million a year. It just makes sense from a business standpoint. Yet it's still wrong, in my opinion. It's still wrong, but from a business standpoint, it works. These guys have to get hit on almost every single touch they get. I hate that the running back market is like that. But look, I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it as straight as possible. It is what it is. Ezekiel Elliott's second contract did not have a high return on investment. I think Derrick Henry is probably the only back I can think of who's, kept with stable production on his second contract. I can't think of another right now. I mean, maybe Frank Gore, but we're talking about 2 running backs in the past century. I don't know. They're anomalies to me. So here's another example, Jamal. This will relate to all Colts Nation. Edgerrin James left the Indianapolis Colts, all-time leading rusher. He wanted to get paid. They didn't want to pay him. He leaves. Guess what happens the next year? What happened the next year, Jamal?
Won the Super Bowl.
We won the Super Bowl without Edgerrin James, the all-time leading Colts rusher. So, there's just evidence that there's facts that, you don't really need to pay a top dollar running back. And now I'm going to jump to the other fence. Maybe we need something to change in the NFL. We need a generational running back to kind of reset the market. I don't know if Taylor is that kind of product. In the modern NBA, you need people who can stretch the floor. Steph Curry changed the game. 3-pointers are a must now. You didn't see that before he got in. People were still taking the mid-range jump shots, things like that. Getting guys like Shaquille O'Neal, Yao Ming, they wanted people who were dominant in the paint. But wait, just this year, guy by the name of Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets won the NBA championship. Big man. The big man dominated, and he should have won MVP, for the regular season. But he might be the turning point in where owners and coaches and the front staff say, wait, hey guys, wait a minute. Let's try to find a guy like that, a big man that can change the game. Enter Victor Wembanyama. A guy he's a generational talent. He's got the length. He can do everything. We're going to see what he's about. Decent analogy, right? We need someone at running back who's going to alter that position where we reset the market. That's what I think, if it's even possible. Maybe Bijan Robinson. They're talking about him like he's one of the best running back prospects ever. I don't know. It's probably unlikely, but I think that's what needs to happen. You need somebody who can do that to the market. So, Jamal, last thing I'll say is, the ugly truth is the Colts don't have to pay him.
Yeah.
It sucks. They don't have to trade him.
Mm-hmm. And they don't have to.
Yeah, and you would say JT doesn't really have a leg to stand on, right? Shoot, they could tag him next year, and he got to play or he becomes a free agent.
Yeah. And that's you can't. That breakdown was phenomenal. That's exactly what you try to encompass whenever you think of this entire situation. Like you said, he has zero legs to stand on this one. His back is against the wall. Doesn't help that he has a wild agent going ham on Twitter all day. So that doesn't help the situation out either. I think that it will continue to get messy. I think that somebody like JT, the biggest issue is, I don't know, I think about it when I think of how when we were asked about JT during the offseason about what he can do or how excited are, as a team for him, or we're going to pay him because he's on a contract, Ballard, this is a partial quote, but Ballard basically said, when the player's special, you pay him. Whatever the case is, you pay him. So
he is special.
Yeah. And so you put up a facade that all this time that we're gonna go ahead and pay JT, we're gonna go ahead and get this contract done. We fast forward a couple months, and of course, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We can only go by a quick 4-minute media conversation. That doesn't take into account daily talks that these guys have. But all of a sudden, we're like, I think we can kind of figure something out with somebody else. Steichen seemed to be excited about being able to have Jonathan Taylor back there in the backfield at the beginning.
But see, that's the thing. In Shane Steichen's system, they use multiple running backs.
Oh, I know.
I bet you he is not losing sleep.
No. I seriously doubt he is. And I think that's the main reason why, like you said, it's coming to that point where it's like, well, we don't truly need him because we saw last season what happened when we had multiple backs back there. Even with that Blaine Chicken offense, we were still able to do a little bit of something. So I fully agree. We don't have to have a workhorse back there anymore. I think that it will be great to have that combination, but it is not truly a necessity. You are 100% right.
bell cow running backs, they're getting, fairly limited nowadays. A lot of people are using the committee approach, and usually it works. But I'm not trying to kill Jonathan Taylor. I know his worth. I know he's our most elite weapon. Like
Oh
he's
yeah.
the most elite weapon on the Indianapolis Colts. But from a value perspective, when it comes from the running back position, Zach Moss, like we talked about it last year, and the man was grinding. He was bruising through the second level stuff like that. He was getting like 5 yards to carry some games.
Hmm.
So I think the news sucks, but I, I'll even jump on JT's side. We do kind of need him for Anthony Richardson's
Oh yeah.
development
Yeah.
because we saw those RPOs and read options already in training camp and how nice they look and how refreshing it is to see that type of offense that we haven't seen ever in Indianapolis, or for a long time at least. So it's not going to be optimal without Jonathan Taylor. I think we need him in that situation, but will the Indianapolis Colts survive? I think they will. I would like to have JT here, but there's an understanding now that no running back is getting more than they're not even getting long-term deals, but
Hmm.
Saquon Barkley is at what, 10 point something million a year. There's not a lot of running backs that get paid more than him as well. You got like Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, and maybe Aaron Jones. I know Christian McCaffrey makes a lot of money. But ever since, Kyle Shanahan just started plugging and playing running backs every single different year, just any running back, and making it work in that system where, they're getting 100 yards rushing a game. I don't know. The running back position has kind of changed. It's just, that's why you need someone who can reset that market, who can change the direction of that position. In my opinion, I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but I know it's a QB driven league, and I don't know if Jonathan Taylor's days are numbered, but I don't know what else he can't just sit out. He's going to lose money.
Hmm.
You can't put food on the table. Like it, I don't know, Jamal. This is a crazy situation. It's
Yeah.
unfavorable for the Colts in general, but I just don't see how he has leverage here.
He doesn't. And, I think the worst thing about all this is the fact that in the event that we are, which I know with 99.9% won't happen, but if we were to say, okay, fine, here's your 4 year X amount deal, whatever, whatever contract we can negotiate at this point, and then you can call it a front if you want to, but the facial expressions he had during training camp yesterday, plus demanding that it wanted to be traded now, like, is it worth it? Like, how can you turn, if you truly have grown an ill will towards someone, how can the money all of a sudden make you say, all right, I'm back in this like I never left? Like, I don't think it works like that. I don't think it does,
Oh, well, what if they did just sign him to 15 mil like today,
Yeah,
4 year deal? I think he'd be happy.
I think he'd be, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think the other thing is too, is like just like Ursay, I don't really know. I don't really know how to address that portion, but I just feel like with Ursay, like he says what he says, whether or not, he dodged the question when people were asking kind of what truly happened in there. He didn't really answer the question, but I think with Ursay, the hard thing with him is like it's a pride thing for him. I think just as much as it's a pride thing for JT's agent. Where Ursay is 100% right. We see every time something goes on in Indianapolis, Edgerrin is back here, Edge is here, all this other stuff. So he's right when he says that the Colts take care of their vets and their players and all that kind of stuff. But I also don't know how many Colts are leaving on a bad foot. That's a completely different ball game. So
Yeah, I agree with that because I'm pretty sure they sent Edgerrin James a Super Bowl ring
yeah,
even
exactly.
after he left the team.
Exactly.
That's respectable.
It is respectable. I and it just makes me nervous that I think that with everything with JT, I don't know. I feel like they kind of, and again, I'm just talking, but I feel like they could have kind of just basically said, we don't want you anymore. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not even so much that the Colts don't want him. It's just that, like you said, they don't think that he should get this money. And as we talked about, even when we did the full episode on this, I said I'm down to pay JT, but we can throw some incentives and all that stuff in there with it. Like let's throw incentives in there. Let's make it worthwhile
Well,
because our records
oh, sorry, keep
significantly
going.
changed.
Oh, no, I
when
was gonna
he's
say just
getting
because
100
we
yards
know
versus
when
not
he
getting
was on the
100 yards.
field,
So it shows that
I
we
think
need
we were
him
like
on the
13,
field.
3,
You know what I
and
mean?
1,
When
and I
he
know
has
someone
over
else can get
100
back
yards
there
rush and tear it up for Zach Moss to get back there and do something special. But are we going to have defenses crowding the boxes heavy with Zach Moss and Anthony Richardson? Or they're going to be crowded much heavier with Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson back there, So
Yeah,
I
they
think about it like that.
definitely keep defenses honest. But another thing going against Jonathan Taylor, which I think would have been different. I think these contract talks would have been different if this didn't happen. But his ankle
Mm-hmm.
caused him a lot of issues last season. I mean, he was in and out, in and out. Obviously needed surgery. So if he would have topped that year last year and from 2021 into 2022, or if he would have just been healthy, still got like his, 1,400 yards, I think we'd be having a different conversation here. He would have still been playing at a high level. There would be no injury concerns. Maybe he would have got, a Nick Chubb type of deal, like a 3-year, semi guaranteed deal. But I think coming off ankle surgery, I think they pumped the brakes a little and said, "Hey, he's still got 1 year left. I mean, why even give him an offer? We can see what he does this year." That's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know. I know players, entering their contract year, they do want an extension, and a lot of star players do get them. Like the quarterbacks will get them. Maybe the extremely talented interior defender or edge rusher will get them. More valued positions, but when it comes to the running back, they're going to wait it out because I can draft an Isaiah Pacheco in the 7th round and still do damage on the field essentially. So I hate looking at this like from a business perspective, but I think we have to break it down so all the fans, Colts Nation, will
Mm-hmm.
understand what's going on. But this doesn't change what I like morally believe. I think they should pay the running back. I wish, especially in our position, we got
Yeah,
Anthony Richardson on a rookie QB deal. He's not
exactly.
like we don't have a lot of players, too many eating up the salary cap. Like Jonathan Taylor can fit into the scenario. It's not like we get big players anyway. We make a splash signing, so you have the money available.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't want to allocate it to that position, and that's where we're at a standoff at, and I've accepted it. I just still want to see JT out there, a year down the road, 3 years down the road. Like he's 24. He's 24. So that's all
Yeah.
I'll say, man.
Yeah, no, I mean you're right, and I mean, and I know you're talking about productivity for these other running backs. I mean, even Edge once he got shipped off, he was still putting up big numbers for the first couple of years afterwards. Talk about LaDainian Tomlinson. I know that's an anomaly as well, but that's just another one who continued over and over and over to get better. And I think JT has the ability, the drive, and the will to want to get better. I think that he is not a selfish. Well, and it doesn't. You can't say this now because it looks like he's a selfish person right now. But I think historically, though, he's not a selfish, like cocky person. He just wants to be, what's best for the team. So I think that he has all the right intentions. It's just going out. This is all playing out in such a crappy way that you hate to see it. And I know that you brought up the Isaiah Pacheco reference. And I haven't seen Shane Steichen in this offense yet, so I'm still super curious to see how it'll be, of course, come game day. But I do think that it's like, again, we have to remember, even with Pacheco back there, they got Mahomes at running back or at quarterback. They have like an elite level person. Anthony
Travis
Richardson is,
Kelsey,
yeah, Travis Kelsey. Richardson's not going to come out there looking like Mahomes. Where Mo Ali, or not Mo Ali Cox, but Jelani, Mo, Grandson, Ogletree, any of them, they're not going to come out there like Travis Kelsey. You know what I mean? So I do agree. I think that like you can have anybody back there, or you can have a lot of different people, not anybody, but you can have a lot of different people back there and be successful. But at the same time, I also think we have to face the fact of some of these elite teams we see at these highest level, they have so many other weapons around them too. You think that someone's worried about Michael Pittman Jr. the same way they worried about Travis Kelsey? Don't think so. I don't think so. You know what I mean? So we got to be honest here. So I think that it'll be a disservice to not credit Jonathan Taylor for what he's done for this organization, and just to think that he deserves the money. I know that the running back said, like you said, Eric, it is a business, but morally, I think that he should get what he should get.
It's just, yeah, I got to look at it from both sides because
Absolutely.
we got a podcast to run. So don't get it twisted, guys. I do want Jonathan Taylor here, but I see the other side,
Mhm.
and I understand, why it's like that. I don't agree with it. I understand. But one last example, Adrian Peterson is probably, because I'm only 30 years old. He's probably one of the best running backs I've ever seen dominate the game with my eyes, being alive. And look, he don't have a Super Bowl ring, but he got all these records, most rushing yards in a game. That man had 296 rushing yards in one game.
That's scary.
Imagine having that on your fantasy team. Like, you would have won that week with just him. But I mean, he's been all pro. He was MVP one year. Still don't have a ring to his name, which sucks. And he was built different. Like the way he ran at his side, like he was 6'1". Like it was crazy, but it, that's neither here nor there. It's just like I wish they could mend this and not have a burning bridge going on, but this is where we are as Colts fans. This is what we gotta see. We'll see what happens in the coming days, right?
Oh yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Still excited for Colts season, man. Sucks, but we're still excited. Football's back.
Yeah. Can't wait to cover some more training camp in the next few days. We'll keep an eye on this Jonathan Taylor situation. But everyone, that's going to be it. Thank you for listening to the Colts Cast. We're live on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or any platform you use to listen to podcasts. We'll be back next time to give you some more Indianapolis Colts content. Y'all take care.